take questions after my presentation. Today is actually my 10th year wedding anniversary.
Well, yes, we'll make an exception for you.
Thank you very much. And my wife has been patiently sitting here with me. So, thank you. As in everything that I do it in the name of my ancestors who fought against white supremacy, capitalism, and economic subjugation and barbaric Christianity from the island of Haiti. So as in their names, I present everything in my writings, in my teaching, everything that I do, and I hope the work that I do, that I publish, continue their legacy. Anyway, the original title of this paper was changed by the journal Sociology, who accepted it for publication.
All right.
It will subsequently be published under the title "The Dialectical Problematic of Resolving the Black-White Academic Achievement Gap in Climate Change." I'm not going to read the entire paper for you, but I will go over the premise and the basic premise behind the paper and my work and how it ties into the global aspect of the work that my academic work. The paper is an attempt to synthesize two areas of research of mine, and this attempt is an attempt to tie in an area of research that has been neglected, I'll say, for about 200 years, and it subsequently has been, ever since the earthquake that damaged Haiti in 2010, there's been an influx of white academics into Haitian scholarship, reassessing Haitian scholarship, and the power dynamics that went into constituting Haitian studies. So the first part of my area of focus is on what I call the voodoo ethic and the spirit of communism. It's an attempt to reassess how we approach the areas of Haitian studies and the constitution of the Haitian state and the dynamics that would impact the cultural, the socio-economic and cultural impacts that would constitute the Haitian state. We tend to focus the Haitian studies under the analysis of the French Revolution, but that overlooks the significance of the African contribution to the Haitian Revolution. Because following the Haitian Revolution, 67% of the population are directly from Africa when the revolution begins and after the revolution. So we're more African, and our influences are more African than they are French. In fact, to reiterate what the sociologist Jean Casimir calls the counter-plantation system would develop among the Africans of the population, which stood against the capitalist intentions of the mulatto elites and what they would call the Creole blacks, those who were born on the island. So Haitian, from 1804 to the present, there's been a dialectical struggle between the Haitian population, who wanted no aspect of the plantation system or the capitalist world system, and the mulatto elites and the petit bourgeois blacks, who we would call Creole blacks, over the struggle of what direction should Haiti go. Should Haiti be incorporated into the global capitalist world system, which is what the mulatto elites, as well as the Creole blacks, would attempt to reinstitute following the death of the father of the country, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and then what the masses want, which was no part of this plantation system. Whereas Casimir calls what they would establish in the mountains and the provinces of the island a counter-plantation system, I argue they developed I call it, they simply established a new form of what we call a form of system and social integration grounded in the voodoo ethic and the spirit of communism. Now, how does that tie into the black-white achievement gap? Wow. Well, the attempt is to tie in what would happen following the revolution in Haiti to tie in the African experiences in Haiti to what would happen the English-speaking black world, because there's a diametrical opposition between what would take place in Haiti versus what would take place in America. I wrote a paper entitled "The Anti-Dialectical Signification of What We Call Bois Caïman and As We Don't Talk," because Bois Caïman is the originating moments of the Haitian Revolution in 1791, August 21st, 1791. That is grounded in a anti-dialectical move, because what it is the majority of the Africans would refute or reject not only the plantation system in which enslaved them, but the whole capitalist model of organized or as a form of system and social integration in Haiti. Whereas what we find in the Western Hemisphere is a dialectical replication. Now, don't get me wrong, because what would happen amongst the mulatto elites, because they became a separate reified class within Haiti, whereas the one-drop rule would rule America. That is not the case in Haiti. If you're mulatto or mixed, you're considered white in Haiti. So, following the Haitian Revolution, the mulatto elites, as well as the Creole blacks, would attempt to replicate or dialectically replicate the global capitalist world system on the island. So they actually established plantation. What we fail to realize is that many of the leaders of the revolution owned slaves. Dessalines owned slaves. Toussaint Louverture owned slaves. The first president of the Republic, Alexander Pétion, who was a mulatto, he was a slave-owning plantation owner. So they attempted, following the revolution, to replicate what the whites had in place, which I call, in my writing, the dialectical move. It's a dialectical form of thinking. And I argue that's what would happen as well in the English-speaking Caribbean. It's a dialectical move. And in order to resolve, and for me, as I see it, what is happening here, when we talk about the black-white achievement gap, it is also a dialect, because solutions offered as a form to resolve the gap is grounded in dialectical thinking. For example, if you look at some of the solutions offered, equitable funding of schools, grow the economy so blacks can participate in the economy, multicultural education, all of that is an expansion of the capitalist form of system and social integration versus an anti-dialectical thinking that took place on the island of Haiti. So my attempt in this paper is to tie into that. And our solutions to resolving the black-white achievement gap, is that a threat against the capitalist model, a form of system and social integration? Or is it an anti-dialectical form of thinking that will eventually get rid of this form of system and social integration? What I argue in the paper is that all of the solutions we've come about is an expansion and will continue. Because for me, in one of the papers that I wrote, for me, both the black-white achievement gap as well as the climate change problematic are grounded in capitalist structural reproduction and differentiation. So, for example, the blacks in America, in my argument, what I call a mismatch of linguistic structure and social class function, what I argue is that the reason why, especially in our post-industrial society, the reason why we have a black-white achievement gap is simply the economy. Many of our young black males do not focus their attention on achieving academically. For why? Why should they? Whereas there are other avenues of social class roles available for them to achieve economic gain within the society. So when we look at the black underclass as well as the black bourgeoisie, the aim is not to get rid of capitalism as a form of system and social integration. It's what Nancy Fraser calls this push for equality of opportunity, recognition, and distribution. This push for equality of opportunity, recognition, and distribution cannot resolve the climate change problematic that we're facing as a species. Because if the aim of blacks, whether it's in the English-speaking Caribbean or in America, is for equality of opportunity, recognition, and distribution. The attempt is to see the economy expand, grow, so we, as the black bourgeoisie or the black underclass, can continue our participation in this form of system and social integration. Whereas if we are to resolve the climate change problematic, the way I see it, we have to get rid of capitalism as a form of system and social integration, A. Two, in doing so, remove some of the carbon particles in the atmosphere. And three, we have to establish another form of system integration, a form that celebrates, I don't want to sound romantic or anything, Mother Nature and subsistence living. We have to establish some form of subsistence living in order to salvage not only our species but the environment. So overall, the attempt is, and for me, we have to look at what the majority of the Haitian population would do after the revolution in order to find an alternative solution to not only resolving the black-white achievement gap, but also in establishing how we ought to constitute society over, because we cannot continue to go down the path that we're going. Capitalism as a form of system and social integration, for me, has to end in order to resolve the climate change. So on that note, I will end it on that and take questions.
Wow.
Yes.
How are you dealing in your classes or on your campus with the sense or the perception that environmental issues aren't about issues of race, or they're not about issues of class? And so we tend to see, environmental club, majority white students. We tend to see the concept of sustainability, again, majority white. And how, for you, do you communicate that, no, this is not a white issue? I remember I used to work in New York City, and a friend of mine was African American who liked to go camping, and he constantly was told, brothers don't belong in the woods. Like, we don't want, because of the sense that that's dangerous territory out there, and so what are your thoughts on that?
That's a brilliant question, because the phenomenon you run into on college campuses when you see young black males talking about the environment is, and excuse my language, is to refer to them, especially among other black males, as hotep niggas. If you go around talking about the environment, I'm earth-loving, I'm a hotep nigga. And hotep refers to this notion of, if you've ever been a part of any African-American clubs, hotep refers to peace. When they greet each other in the Hermetic term of peace, saying hotep, my brother. So all brothers, and Cornel West in his book Race Matters does a wonderful analysis of that, in which we, especially among urban, and there's a brilliant paper out not too long ago, I think recently, if you look at the majority of African Americans as well as blacks in the Caribbean, majority of them are urban oriented. Especially in the African American community here, many of our brothers and sisters come from urban environments. So this notion of environmental, they have, on my campus, they have no conception of the relationship between their struggle as people of color and the environment and protecting nature or having a relationship with nature. And this is not, and I hate it when we attribute everything to the African American culture. This has nothing to do with the African American culture per se. It just simply has to do with the fact that they're urban. Many of them are urban, and their role models tend to be people from their communities. And anyone who walks around with dashikis, braids, in fact, they'll say, Dr. Mocombe, you a hotep nigga. You see what I'm saying? You go around saying, hotep, peace, my brother, smoke weed, and let's go back to the environment. So this is new for me. And for me, I do gravitate towards my Haitian background because I grew up in the voodoo sector and understood the relationship between the environment and my existence. And so it's hard. It's tough. It's tough when you're dealing with young urban youth who are who have no connection between the environment. I believe during the climate change summit, if I'm not mistaken, only one black university sent a delegation to the climate summit that took place recently. So, yeah, it's a recent phenomenon where we have to face the environment because many of us come from urban. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. There's no woods in Newark, New Jersey. There's no camping in Newark, New Jersey. It's my Haitian culture that grounded me to that. So it's a new phenomenon that I'm engaging in myself as I research more into the connection between what happened after the Haitian Revolution was contemporarily happening in black lives, whether in the Caribbean or in America. So that this is a new connection. Yes, ma'am.
No, but.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, yes.
Okay, I'm not speaking to the situation in Haiti, but I can say this, Phoebe and other people, that when I present climate change and environmental issues in an environmental justice framework, then the perspective changes. In the article that's going to be published in our GC journal, titled Beyond Treading of Water, I present 3 case studies. And one case example is a housing project called Oakdale Gardens in Chicago. The cancer rate there is well known throughout the nation. And if I speak to students and say, well, what about the garbage dumps that are located near you in Gary, second case example, then students begin to see the connection between climate change, environmental justice, and social justice. So as I said earlier today, it depends upon how you present information.
Definitely.
Frame it.
Definitely.
You have another question?
No, I was just, I mean, now can I follow up?
Oh, sure.
I absolutely agree. I think that the difficulty is we can do that in our classes. It's hard on the campus wide, though,
Yes.
to get the larger discourse about the environment to make those connections. But certainly in the classroom,
Yes.
it's a must.
All right,
Oh,
let's
thank you.
give them